In this video, I will tell you everything about how I'm going to travel from Morocco to New Zealand without taking a single flight. Yeah, I'm sick. I need my hot chocolate. So yeah, this is my big project for 2026. My presence online has been quite scarce for the beginning of this year. And well, that's pretty much the reason, it's not the kind of adventure that you just go on a whim. No, you have to prepare that. So I've been preparing it for like the past 6 months, pretty much. And yeah, at this point it is confirmed, I'm going. Actually at the time I'm posting this video, I will be starting my journey in 3 days. So that will be on the 10th of March. So what's all this about? Well, in this video I'll try to answer some of the questions that some of you may have. If you have some others that I don't reply in these videos, then please leave them in the comment and I will reply, no problem. So yeah, that's pretty much as I said, I will be starting my journey in Morocco. And from there, I will be traveling without taking a single flight. I will be crossing over 30 countries, 4 different continents until I make it all the way to New Zealand. So the first question is, why Morocco and New Zealand? That seems so random. Well, there's a reason. The name of this mission is actually the Antipodes Mission. So if you don't know what an antipode is, well, I'll give you the definition. So imagine you have a globe, a sphere of the Earth. I don't have one here, sorry guys. But you take one point on it, and you just go through the Earth right to the other side, pretty much the opposite point on Earth, and that's the antipode. I will be starting at one precise location in Morocco and go to the exact opposite point on Earth, which happens to be in New Zealand. So Morocco and New Zealand just happen to be the most convenient starting and ending points. I could have started from Spain or Portugal as well to go to New Zealand, but if I start from Morocco, that means I can claim that I have visited 4 continents. So that's pretty much the reason. Yeah, I know, I'm a very shallow person. So why am I doing this, you may ask? Why am I not flying? What is the point of doing all this without flying? It's about the adventure for me, first and foremost. I don't mind flying, I don't mind taking a 1-week holiday to Asia and then come back home. But what I appreciate the most is, actually living like a traveling lifestyle, like going for several months and like living a lifestyle of traveling, pretty much. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to not fly. Basically be traveling one step at a time, one bus at a time, one train at a time, go overland from countries to countries, cross the seas by boats, stuff like that. That's just what I personally enjoy. And I feel like that will also be pretty interesting for content. Seeing a guy struggle at crossing land borders, having to haggle with the border guards, having to find the right bus in a country I don't speak the language of, things like that. I think that's pretty interesting, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it, I'd like to tell you that I'm doing that to raise money for a charity or something, and I might, in the future of the trip, like at some point I might find a charity that I'm interested in raising money for, and start doing something. But for now, no. That's just me and my backpack and just me traveling across countries, pretty much. So if I'm not taking any plane, then what kind of transport will I be using? Well, basically anything that doesn't involve flying is fair game. So buses, trains, boats, hitchhiking. I would like to do a lot of hitchhiking. Actually, it could have been a hitchhiking trip, hitchhiking from Morocco to New Zealand. That would have made a good title, but I don't want to restrict myself to only hitchhiking because it's really time consuming, and I want to be able to have some freedom over where I'm going and what I'm doing. So that's why I'm not gonna just hitchhike, but I will try to hitchhike quite a bit in this trip. So yeah, no planes, no helicopters, no flying on an eagle or anything like that. As long as it's on land or on the sea, it's fine. How much does a trip like this cost? Well, flying is actually more expensive than going over land, as you probably know. But when you're visiting 30 countries on the way, then obviously it's gonna be more expensive than just flying from Morocco to New Zealand, obviously. But this isn't even comparable, right? The truth is, I don't really know how much it's gonna cost. All I can give you is like a wild estimate. First of all, one thing you have to take into account is the visas, You need quite a lot of visas, even though I do have a French passport, so I am very privileged about this. There are a lot of countries where I can just show up with my passport and get like 30 days or 60 days for free. I can just travel as I want. But there's also quite a bit of countries that I will need a visa for. And according to my estimates, that's gonna cost about 500 euros just for the visas. And that doesn't include the working holiday visa that I've booked for Australia. Because my plan is, once I reach New Zealand, I will fly back to Australia and stay there for like 1 year and work there and make some money back, because I'll be running dry at this point. And this visa itself, it costs 400 euros, but I don't really consider it a part of the trip, it's more like an after the trip. How about the transport themselves? I've made some calculations to give myself a rough idea, and I end up around 2,000 euros. Just buses, trains, everything to go from Morocco to New Zealand, including boats, stuff like this. It's probably gonna exceed that figure a little bit. And then for the rest, well, accommodation, food, stuff like that. I will travel pretty cheap, I'll try not to spend too much. I will be traveling with my hammock on my backpack and maybe a sleeping bag. So some nights I'll be sleeping for free. Try to find some not too dangerous spots. I've already tried that a few months ago in Corsica. That was pretty much a try for this, actually. Go in hostels, maybe use couch surfing quite a bit. And on food, well, it will be varying between, sometimes restaurants. Sometimes it's good to try some local food, but, street food is great as well. Or going to supermarkets or whatever. But I mean, it's very country dependent, but I will try to keep a budget around 20 euros per day for food, accommodation, and activities. But obviously it will depend on the countries. In Europe it will be more expensive. But when I get to Southeast Asia, I think it's not that difficult to stick to that budget. But I will probably once again exceed that figure quite a bit, but that's how it is. So in total, it's gonna be at least 6,000 euros, and well, it's probably gonna be much more than that, isn't it? But how do I fund this, you may ask? I'm pretty much leaving everything behind on this trip. Like, this is the house I live in currently. I'm breaking the lease, I'll be gone for too long. It doesn't make any sense to, keep this place. So yeah, I won't have to pay any rent. I won't have to pay for any subscriptions back home here in France. I am also selling pretty much everything I own, excluding like everything I need for my travel, like my laptop, my camera, stuff like that. Of course, I'm gonna keep that. But I'm selling my car, for example. I'm not gonna need it, obviously. And my furniture, stuff like that. And I've also been saving for the past month at work. So in theory, I should have enough money to get all the way to New Zealand. And then I will have to replenish that by going to Australia and working there for a while. But yeah, hopefully I can make it. So how long does a trip like this take? Well, once again, I can only give you an estimate. At least 6 months. And I'm saying at least because it will probably end up being more than this. I'm trying not to limit myself too much. Of course, I'm limited by my budget, but in terms of time, I'm not truly limited. I have my working holiday visa in Australia that's valid for a year. So I have a year to get to Australia. That should be fine, right? And of course the seasons matter. You don't want to end up being stuck in the Himalayas in winter, but I mean, I should get there around early summer, so that's alright. My biggest time constraint, I would say, is to avoid the cyclone season in the South Pacific, because obviously I'm gonna need a boat, or even several boats at the end, to get to New Zealand. It's an island, right? So I'm gonna need to take boats. And for that I will have to find a crew. And well, people don't sail during the cyclone season, right? That makes sense. And this season is from November to April. So basically I have to get to where I'm gonna take that boat, wherever it is, we'll see, long before November if possible. Like maybe September at the latest, if possible. Because if I miss that window, then I most likely won't be able to get on a boat and I won't be able to complete the mission. Because I'm not waiting in Asia until April, right? So yeah. So I've been talking about some things like crossing 30 countries, 4 continents, taking boats, crossing oceans, stuff like that. But I mean, it's very abstract for now, isn't it? Because you probably want to know what route I will be taking. So once again, I can't be 100% sure of exactly which countries I will be visiting on my way, but I do have a pretty solid idea for now, and I'm gonna show you that on my laptop. And there we are, but first of all, there's one question I didn't really answer before, because, I mean, that seems fairly obvious, but yes, I am going to be making videos about this whole journey, about this whole mission. And there's gonna be one video every week, at least that's what I'm gonna try to do. And just like I've done with my other videos before, it will come out on Saturday, 2 p.m. Paris time. And I'll also be very active on TikTok and Instagram. The links are in the description. As well as posting some YouTube shorts here every now and then. So with that out of the way, it's time I show you my actual route. So I will be starting here in Morocco. Wait, let me switch the language to English. There we go. So I will be starting in Morocco, specifically the city of Tangier here. And from there, well, my destination will be at the exact opposite side of the world. Let me show you an Antipodes map. If you start from Tangier, Morocco, then the opposite point will be here in New Zealand, close to the city of Whangarei. And this city is right here on the North Island of New Zealand. I do have specific coordinates for my starting and ending points, but I'll discuss that later, it doesn't really matter today. So the first thing I'm gonna do, starting from Tangier, is to actually rent a car. There will be a friend of mine coming with me to Tangier, and we are going to rent a car and drive it all the way to the city of Nador. So that will take about 3 days. But first of all, I forgot to say, how do I get to Tangier? Because I'm not actually from Morocco. I mean, do I look Moroccan to you? No, I'm from France, as you know. I live in the city of Toulouse, and I'm actually going to fly from there to Tangier. So I know that sounds counterintuitive because it's like you're doing a challenge without flying, and the first thing you do is fly. Well, that will be my first and only flight of the trip, of course, but like the year, I mean, doesn't even count because that's before my starting point. You know, my starting point will be here. So yeah, I will be flying to my starting point and then I will be taking no planes after this. Well, it was only like 16 euros on Ryanair, you know, it made sense to take it. Anyway, I'll spend 3 days driving around the coast of Morocco. I'll probably have a little stopover in this city here, which is called Melilla. You might have heard of it. It's actually a Spanish city on the African coast. Yes, that's a thing. But from Nador here, that's where I'm gonna take my first boat of the trip, because that's actually gonna be a very long boat journey for the start of this trip. I will be going from Nador to the city of Sète in France. So yeah, there's actually a ferry doing that, as you can see. I mean, I've already booked it, I know it exists, and it takes 42 hours, so that's already a 2 days journey just on a boat to get all the way back to France, actually, back to my home country. And that's how I make it back to Europe, so I won't stay in France for too long, because that's not the point, right? I'll be taking a train to Marseille, which is one of the biggest cities in France, and from there I'll probably take a Flixbus, or like some other kind of long-distance bus that we have in Europe, to Zagreb, Croatia. So I will actually be crossing Italy and Slovenia just on a bus. I will not be stopping, I've already been to those countries, and I love them, but, you know, the point is not to stay for too long in Europe, so I will be crossing Europe pretty fast. The first country that I actually want to visit is Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I've traveled in the Balkans quite extensively in the past few years. You know, I've been to actually pretty much all of these countries that you can see around here, except for Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I will be spending a few days in Bosnia, going around, maybe renting a car. No, probably not. I think I'll just use public transport. After that, I will keep going through the Balkans, you know, not stopping much. Maybe I might stop in North Macedonia for a bit, but not for long. I'm not even sure which countries I'll be crossing, you know. Maybe going through Serbia. It will be pretty long anyway, like the transports in this region are pretty bad. You know, the trains are really slow, the buses are not that good because the roads. Anyway, I will keep going all the way to Istanbul, Turkey. And it's at this point that I'll already be crossing into Asia. You know, Istanbul is a city between two continents, and as soon as you cross the isthmus, well, you are in Asia. You just have to cross this bridge or this one or whatever, take a ferry. We'll see. Whatever, doesn't matter. I'll be crossing into Asia, already be 3 continents down. And about, I don't know, one, two, three, four, at least 10 countries. I'm not even counting at this point. That's gonna be a very fast beginning of the trip. And then, of course, it will slow down from now on. Because in Turkey, my friend Axel is gonna join me again for about 8 or 9 days, I think. Yeah, and we're probably gonna rent a car here and cross through Turkey. You know, I'm very excited to visit Turkey. That's pretty good. Monster Energy, if you're watching this, please sponsor me. So once I get to eastern Turkey, well, now is the funny part, because you might have heard of some news recently, like a week ago from when you'll be watching this. This whole area is pretty troublesome. You know, hopefully Turkey will be fine, but the other countries around it, not so much. So my first plan that I actually ditched like a few months ago, but my first plan was to go through Iran. Not even really a possibility to consider at this point. I don't actually have a death switch. It looks like it sometimes, but I actually don't. So my option B was to go through the Middle East here, and then eventually try to find some boat going from the UAE or Oman all the way to Pakistan like this. But that's not really possible due to the laws in place in Pakistan. You can't really enter Pakistan like this. So how do I get to this region from this region? You know, that's the difficult part of this journey. It used to be possible. I think it's actually still possible to cross the Caspian Sea from here in Baku, Azerbaijan, all the way to Aktau, Kazakhstan, and that I think that's possible. The problem is that Azerbaijan has closed its borders, so there is no way to get into Azerbaijan in the first place from other countries around it. It's not possible. So that is not a realistic option. That only leaves one, which is Russia. So yes, I will be crossing through Russia. But before this, I am planning, or at least I was planning, to do some kind of loop here in the Middle East. I actually posted this video on my TikTok on the 27th of March. It actually blew up a little, it got some views, pretty nice. But the funny thing is, that was one day before shit happened in the Middle East. So look at it, I presented this loop, so going through Iraq, Jordan, Israel, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, and then Kuwait. So that is the loop that I'm considering doing. But now, with everything that happened, they bombed some American bases in Iraq. Saudi Arabia has been bombed as well. Kuwait has been bombed. And Israel has been bombed as well. So, I mean, this whole region is not looking good. So, what is going to happen? No one knows. Will I be able to get there? I don't know. Will it be safe to do so? Probably not. So I might have to reconsider that. It's just a loop anyway. It's not necessary to the trip. I just wanted to do this because, well, that's countries I had been planning to visit when I first made my route, when I wanted to go to Iran and then Pakistan directly. And after changing all my plans, I didn't want to, scrap all these countries. I really want to visit like Palestine, Iraq. They seem like very interesting countries, and I thought it would make some good content. But I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. You can't really plan anything at this point. Like shit is just going on so fast. I already paid for the visa for Iraq. It cost actually $140. That's pretty expensive. But I might go, I might not do any of that and go north directly, because after this, well, it will be about going north, obviously. So I will be going to Georgia. Will I be going to Armenia? I'm not sure, because at this point I'll have to be planning for visas for future countries, namely Turkmenistan and Afghanistan. You need visas in advance for those countries. I might have to apply in Yerevan, or I might be able to do it in Istanbul. I'm not sure yet. If I can, I might go to this enclave, the enclave of Nakhchivan, which belongs to Azerbaijan. I think the border between Turkey and Nakhchivan here are still open, so it might still be a possibility, but it will depend on how much time I have. If I'm not doing this loop, I will have some free time, so I might do that. I might have a stopover in this area right here. I'm not gonna say much more about it. If you know, you know, because I've been looking for like YouTube vlogs about this area in English, and I really haven't found any. So if I manage to pull it off, it might be something very new and interesting. But anyway, I will be crossing Russia from there. So what will I do in Russia? Not that much, I won't be visiting the whole country. I mean, obviously, no, I'll only be crossing most likely the area between Georgia and Kazakhstan. Also depends on how much time I get on my visa. Kazakhstan, well, same thing. It's a really large country. And, I don't need to go to eastern Kazakhstan. I will stay in the west. And from there, well, what I would like to do the most is go to Turkmenistan. But as I said, it's very hard visa to get. So if I manage to get it, it will be a transit visa because, the normal visa, you need to have a tour guide. It's very expensive. It's very out of my budget. So if I manage to get there, that will be on a transit visa. And I will only have 4 days to cross the entirety of Turkmenistan. So if it turns out to be possible, it will be a very fast-paced travel in Turkmenistan, but it will still be interesting, right? And next up will be, well, Afghanistan. I'm still unsure, that's a country I'm thinking of. But, I know it's not really an easy country to travel to. We'll have to see how it is. We'll have to see if I can get the visa. We'll have to see if I need a tour guide, how expensive it will be. I'm just throwing that out there. And, you'll see if I'm doing that or not. If I'm not, then it will be Tajikistan. So Tajikistan will be the replacement for Afghanistan, and Uzbekistan might be the replacement for Turkmenistan if I need to. And those are two countries I also really want to visit. I mean, I want to visit every country, to be fair. Otherwise, I would be going to northern Pakistan from Afghanistan, to Peshawar, Islamabad, and then, to the northern region of Gilgit-Baltistan and crossing through the Himalayas. I'm fairly certain that's like the highest border crossing in the entire world. It's like over 4,000 meters high, you know. But I'm sure the Tajik one is very interesting as well. So, and from there, I will be in China, in the Xinjiang province. There's going to be a large portion of this trip which is in China, but at the same time, I'm not sure I'm going to stay that long in China because I told you I do have some deadlines. So how long I will spend in China will depend on how much time I have left to meet that deadline. I think I will at least stay for some time in Xinjiang. I mean, I kind of have to anyway. It's on the way. It's not a province that you can just live in a day. But then once I get to Urumqi, okay, I'm really bad at pronouncing Chinese city's name. I'm sorry. I'm just going to butcher everything. But from there, if I'm out of time, I might actually be only taking high-speed trains and just going through the countries all the way to the south, maybe stopping in like Chongqing, cities like that. But I might not be going to like Beijing. I mean, China is obviously one of the most diverse countries out there, and I mean, there's so much to visit, so much provinces, and I could spend months just in China visiting. But that's not what I'm gonna be doing on this trip because I have deadlines to meet. So I'll just have to choose a couple places and then go south all the way to Southeast Asia. And from there, I will be crossing into Laos, probably taking the train. They have a high speed train going all the way to Vientiane. I've taken it once. I went from Vientiane to Luang Prabang here. And from there, we'll be crossing to Thailand. And yeah, you know, then going south. I mean, that would be kind of like my actual vacations. I can just go out and like rest in some beach island. By the way, no, I have a lot of Burmese subscribers on this channel. And I'm sorry to say that I won't be going to Myanmar on I love your country. I would like to visit again one day, but it's just not suited for a trip like this. You can't really cross the land border to Myanmar. You kind of have to fly in. So yeah, it's not suited for like an overland trip like what I'm doing. Anyway, I will keep going south through Malaysia all the way to Singapore. And then there's Indonesia. So we'll have to be taking some boats again from there. So at this point, will be like probably like August or something. In the middle of summer, it will be raining seasons in some of these countries. So that will kind of suck, but you know, I have to suck it up. What will I visit in Indonesia exactly? I genuinely have no idea. Like, that's just so far into the future that I can't really plan on that. Because you see, like, the ending point is here in New Zealand. That's still a long way from Indonesia. So, getting all the way to Indonesia, you can do it through public transport, hitchhiking, buses, trains, boats. I mean, like ferry boats. You know, you can take ferry boats and go all the way in Indonesia. That's a thing. But then from Indonesia, if you want to go to Australia or New Zealand, there's no ferry. There's nothing like that. So that will actually be the hardest part of this journey, like logistically speaking. Finding some boat that will get me all the way to New Zealand. I will have to be looking for a crew that is looking for like crew members like myself. That will most likely be the only realistic option, sadly, because I mean, traveling on a cargo boat that has been dead since the COVID pandemic, it seems like it's not really a thing anymore, which is sad. The other option would be cruise ships, but I mean, it's just way out of my budget. I just need to find some boats from someone getting from someone in Southeast Asia to well, the best would be going to New Zealand directly, but as you can see, Australia is on the way, so I might have to do a stop in Australia before going to New Zealand. I don't necessarily want to because, in any case, I will be going to Australia after that for my working holiday visa. But I mean, it will just depend on what I can find, you know, I have no idea yet. If I somehow manage to pull it off, then I will be at my destination in northern New Zealand. And yeah, that will be the end of this mission. But I mean, I'm thinking so far ahead of myself from now. Yeah, we'll see how it goes one step at a time. But I hope you guys will be following the whole journey. You know, I think it will be very interesting. I will do some really nice stuff, not just traveling between one place to another. No, there are specific things that I want to do in each country. I want to go to places that not many tourists have been to. I want to show you things that you've never seen before. And I hope you guys will be interested. But for now, that's about all I have to say. Don't leave the video yet, though, because there's some vlogging coming. I'm gonna film the things I'm doing this week on the last week of my preparation for the trip. And also, if you want to, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to see the mission, if you want to see the videos coming, then you have to subscribe. The first one will be coming exactly 1 week after this one, and then it will be like this every week if I manage to keep the schedule. But anyway, thanks for watching, and now it's time for the vlogging part. Hey everyone, it is currently 7 days before my flight to Morocco and 8 days before the beginning of the mission. So there I am. This is the kind of vlogging making of part of this video, because there are a couple of things that I'm doing today. I'm going to vlog them a little bit. So first of all, there's this drone sequence that if everything goes well, you're gonna see it quite a lot on this series at like the beginning of the videos. And my friend Alex is actually gonna help me do that because he actually bought a drone. I gotta be quite grateful to him because he bought a drone just to film one sequence with me. This guy is crazy, this guy's insane. So I'm gonna join him and my other friend Axel, who you're gonna see quite a lot on the trip. He's gonna be here in Morocco, and he's gonna be here later in Turkey and maybe somewhere in Asia. But yeah, he's gonna be a recurrent figure of this mission. So we actually already tried this 3 days ago and we completely failed. But hopefully today will work. Now we know how to use the drone and the batteries are charged. And well, there's still quite a lot of wind, which sucks. That's not gonna be easy. But we're gonna try to make it work, because that's like the last day I can do that, because right after that I'm selling my car. Like, I'm gonna be out of here for a really long time. I don't even know when or if I'm going to live in France ever again. But anyway, I need to get rid of this car, so if everything goes well, it's gonna be gone tonight, and I'll have the money, because I need the money of the car obviously as well. It's a pretty small Kia Picanto. That's not a car I really like, but you know, it did the job for a year, and they're gonna pay me 2,900 for it, and that's gonna be very useful for the trip. So yeah, anyway, there's this thing I wanted to show you. Look what I got. Yep, there it is. Maybe you don't know about this, but I'm sure you've seen it being used at least in some TikToks or Instagram reels, because those are those glasses, the Meta Ray-Ban glasses. There they are, and they're used to film, actually. Now, in some situations you want to be a little more discreet and maybe not show that you're actually filming, you know, when there's maybe some shady stuff going on. That's gonna be quite useful. So let's try them on. Yup. And look, I'm gonna turn them on, and there it is, it's filming. It's like a POV version, like you see what I see, basically. So that's the point of these glasses. The only annoying thing about them is this flashing light. It just keeps flashing every time I'm recording. And yeah, when the point is to be discreet, it's not really that good. So I don't know if there's a way to turn it off. But anyway, that's gonna be quite useful. I'm gonna use them today to vlog. So I will catch you guys a little bit later. Comment il va?
Ça
Bien,
va et
bien.
toi?
Ça va, ça va. T'es filmé là.
Ok.
Allez, let's go chercher l'autre con. J'ai cru il allait passer en nous ignorant.
Gueule.
Ça va, monsieur Drone?
Ta gueule.
Ah ouais, t'es sympa aujourd'hui. T'as chargé les batteries.
Ah putain. Qu'on peut pas voler.
C'est chiant quand même. Apparemment la batterie le problème.
Les autres batteries. Bah il a 20%.
Je pense qu'il va falloir le refaire hein, parce que...
il est déjà 14%.
Il y a un peu de vent non l'équipe? T'es mal l'oiseau, il arrive même pas à voler.
C'est lié.
Tu crois le drone il est plus lourd que l'oiseau là ou... Il fait 249 grammes, tu crois l'oiseau il fait plus? Bon, on va le laisser loin de la voiture cette fois. Oh là là, est-ce que ça va marcher? Ah! Ah! Non! Oh putain! Yo! Let's go! C'est toi qui le pousse par là ou c'est le vent? Oh putain! Voilà, il tient quand même hein! Ça rend pas mal hein!
C'est moi qui bute quand même.
On l'approche pas trop non plus hein!
Ouais, c'est pas moi, hein, c'est le vent.
Wow! Wow!
C'est pas moi. Attends, c'est côté à la télé. Ouais!
Ouais, bravo mec! Oh le vent! Le vent!
Il va où?
Il va où le drone? Reviens!
Yeah, today I fucked my mom.
Comme ça ouais, comme ça.
Vers le bas, un truc comme ça.
Oui, mais oui.
Bon, oui. J'imagine que l'orientation ce serait ici, j'ai compris, oui.
Voilà. Faut qu'on voit bien le paysage. Oh! Oh là là! C'est pas mal comme ça ouais. J'aime bien.
Allez, on a Alex de la prod avec le drone. On a Axel de la prod avec la caméra juste là. C'est parti. On me voit entièrement là?
Moi, moi.
C'est un peu trop bas, non?
Est-ce que j'y suis, moi?
My name is Nate Rivers and I'm about to be the first person ever to travel from Morocco to New Zealand without taking a single flight. Welcome to the Antipodes Mission! Woo! Oh yo! Putain, il va haut sa mère! Là c'est pas mal je pense niveau hauteur hein. Ok j'y vais. My name is Nate Rivers. My name is Nate Rivers and I'm about to be the first person ever to travel from Morocco to New Zealand without taking a single flight. Welcome to the Antipodes Mission! Wesh! Wesh! Allez, bonne journée! And it's gone. My car is leaving. Say goodbye to my car. I finally sold it, now I only have this bike.
And we are now Saturday the 7th. I'm still in the process of editing the video. So this is the final sequence. Yeah, I know I'm a little bit late, but you know, it is how it is. I am leaving France in 2 days, flying all the way to Morocco, and the actual adventure at my exact starting point will start in 3 days, on the 10th of March. So I hope you guys will be there on TikTok, on Instagram, and on here as well. So I wanted to show you guys how I'm packing my backpack, but the thing is, I'm only bringing this one for now, and yeah, it's pretty small, and that's because I'm only taking it to Morocco. You know, I didn't want to pay for checked luggage on the flight, so I'm only taking this one to Morocco, and then when I come back to France a week later, I will pick up my much larger backpack that I left in my family home. So yeah, for now I'm really not packing much, just some clothes to, you know, survive the few days and the essential, but that's about it. I've already mostly emptied my room, for the most part. You can see it's pretty empty. I've sold my furniture, and I had my last day at work this morning, so that's finally over, and now I'm just ready to go. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're interested in the challenge, and I will catch you guys next week for the actual episode 1. This one is more like episode 0. Episode 1 will come out next week, hopefully on Saturday, maybe on Sunday, we'll see. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys then.